You got to see my home. I am Martina. Welcome, welcome. And we are going to be talking to Edo. I'm just plugging him in so we can get started.
Oh, did I do it?
You got it.
Oh, yes. I didn't know if I did. I didn't know. I was like very much confused, but that was really simple.
It was super simple. You
Yeah,
got
I was like,
it.
I don't know, but here we are.
If you have one task you accomplished today, this is
Yep.
it.
Aye. It is
How are
accomplished.
you, Edo?
I am awesome. How are you? What's
I
going
am
on?
good. Like, we're all in quarantine. We got some folks chiming
Yup.
in. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So, I am Martina with Expressions and super ecstatic to talk to Chicago's very own Edo, who's one
Me?
of Edo,
This guy?
this
Oh, wow.
guy, that guy right
Okay.
there. Edo is super dope. He is just like a creative genius. He's a painter. He's a
Oh, shucks.
creative. He's an entrepreneur. He's a Chicagoan. He's out here killing it. He is inspiring folks to just be great. And
Yes.
people just love. I think I must have flipped around my camera. Oh, there we go. Sorry guys, I do know how to work Instagram Live. We are not gonna have a petty or baby face moment if y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so we are going to be talking to Edo. Edo is going to be talking to us today about his creative journey as an artist, as an entrepreneur,
Yep.
and he's going to be dropping some gems. So on that note, let's kick it off. So Edo is a Chicagoan born and raised. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, Edo, and how you discovered your talent as an artist? Because you are
Yeah.
also self-taught. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So, at a very young age, from what I was told, I was really quiet. I was a loner even as a kid. I experienced I was in foster care as a kid. So I spent like 2 years in foster care, probably like 8 different foster homes. I was beat in majority of them,
Oh
and
my
even
God.
molested in one of them. So my mom, she gave us a way to get clean to get us back. And my father, actually right now as I talk to you, he's still homeless right now as I'm having this conversation. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know where
That's
he is.
powerful. I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. But so she eventually got clean. She got us back, but I was pretty much I was changed,
I
as
can
a kid.
imagine.
So it warped me, to where I
Yeah.
really kind of dove into like my mind a lot, and I just like would be quiet, and I would be
Mm-hmm.
going somewhere about. I would be going to like the alleys and dumpster diving and creating, finding cool things to create. And even in grammar school and high school, I could never pay attention. I would
Yeah.
always find myself drifting off to creating and drawing in like my math book or drawing on my Dickies because we had to wear uniform.
Yep.
You know what
I
I mean? So like
remember those.
it was always a subconscious thing. Art was. It was something that I
Okay.
would just do because I was bored at this. And it
Mm-hmm.
didn't click until I was 19 years old that actually this is what I love to do. I never felt so free with just being able to take my imagination and make it a real thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, that's pretty much like I guess how I got my start. I just started.
Yeah. Can I mean
Yeah.
like, okay, just because I think that something you just spoke on was really powerful about your upbringing and the experiences that you had as a child.
Hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about, the standpoint of I'm not going to necessarily repeat your experiences because I'll let that be your journey because that was
Yeah.
profound. But how, from a mental capacity, did you help your childhood self deal with being in two foster homes as well
8.
as you said, I'm sorry, yes, eight foster homes and
Hmm.
being in the foster system twice? Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 years. It's been 2 years.
2 years, being in
Hmm.
the foster home for 2 years.
Yeah.
So, how did you actually cope with, from a mental perspective? Did you have to ever go through counseling with that as a child, or do you mind
No.
just speaking on that for a few minutes?
Yeah, so when I got back with my mom, because she eventually got clean, and she's been clean for like 20 plus years now. I love her. She's like my best friend.
That's awesome.
I was really just afraid of everything and scared of everything, but also very mad at everything. And like,
Yes.
it was a weird time. I held a grudge with her for years, like a
Mm-hmm.
long time. And it kind of like 19, that age,
Yeah.
no, we just had like a conversation about it. And I told her that wasn't fair. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to you have a child in this world, and it's your responsibility to take care of your child. I don't care what you're
Yes.
going through. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that was also pre me understanding that they were kids too once, and that they probably didn't know what they were doing, type of thing.
Yes.
But I didn't have no type of therapy or anything like that. What helped me was art. That was a thing
Okay.
that I just it healed me. It was like my therapy. I could go to it and I can express myself, and I can get it off of me that way. And then
Mm-hmm.
learning how to trust people, I found real friends that just genuinely accept me and never give up on me. That was like a thing for me too. People leaving me.
How do yeah, like that's
Yeah.
my so then like I think that like I know this conversation is about art, but we have so many teens and people in general that have come from very hard, tough upbringings that are
Hmm.
unexpected that kids shouldn't ordinarily be exposed to. So, can you talk a little bit just for a few more minutes about, how did you decide to develop trust with people? How did you know what a healthy relationship was when you experienced, what you did?
Um, wow. How did I develop trust? I think what I used to do was I would push people away on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of see if they would stay. And
Yeah.
then one of my like close friends, like he's on my brother's name is Will. We were doing something one day, and he was just like, "Man, I just realized, bro, you've never had a real friend. You just never had
Mm-hmm.
somebody that just actually listened to you. You know what I mean? And like didn't
Yeah,
judge
that's
you,
important.
and then never left your side. So I showed him um every angle of me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, and once I feel like you show a person like your true self, and they still be like, man, but I'm rocking with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I love you, man. He showed me that, and I was able to open up trust with like another person, because for the longest I've never been able to really trust people like that.
Yeah.
I've just been like, oh well, you're trying to use me. When I first jumped off into art, I feel like everybody was trying to use me anyways because of what I was nice. So they would take
Okay.
advantage of it. So I had to turn into like a shark and like put my guards up all the time. And then I
Right.
realized like you really don't. There's pure, genuine people out here that cares about you and
Mm-hmm.
will actually like show me that, man. He's like one of my closest friends. He actually showed me. I don't know if I answered your question, but I know
No,
that.
that's good because I think
Yeah.
that, and we'll move on just here shortly, but I think that that's important because so many teens, I know from a statistical perspective, in Chicago Public Schools, we have over 20,000 students who are homeless, right? Or they're a part of the system. And so I say that because your testimony and your experience can be light to someone
Sure.
who is listening, who could be listening, that has experienced what you have experienced,
Hmm.
being a part of the system, even for only 2 years, having, a parents that have had kind of shifty lifestyles, but you've reconnected and rebuilt those relationships based on a fundamental value of trust, as you've just outlined, and how you've had to develop a kind of a measurement as to how you identify who you can trust. You have to test them a little bit, right?
For
So
sure.
I think that sometimes, I appreciate you being candid and open about that because, like, I think
Oh yeah.
unintentionally, like off the bat, you were like, "This is my story,"
Yeah.
but it's like, whoa, that's powerful. I think you need to at some point talk more about that story. But
Yeah.
it's powerful because teens, other teens need it. You're not a teen, but teens do need it. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your moment of trust. And now let's tie
No
back
problem.
to your artistic journey. So at 19, I know you discovered your talent as an artist. So can you talk a little about that? Because when you became 19, you mentioned you started to have a conversation, with your mom. So
Yep.
you are coming into yourself at this point and you're trying to figure out what your next steps are. So can
Hmm.
you talk about how you became an artist at 19 and decided to become an entrepreneur?
Sure. So I was given an ultimatum at 19 years old, and it was either get a job or like Kennedy King is up the street. My mom was like, I'm not going to allow you to just be here and like wallow in self pity. because I didn't apply to no college or anything like that. All my friends was away at college and stuff like that. At that age, I was so afraid to really like try, so
Yeah.
I just didn't really try like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to Kennedy King because I'm like, I don't really want a job, so I'm gonna go to
Yeah.
Kennedy King, and I just took visual communication, And the first day, we were being taught graphic design, like how to do fonts and shapes and stuff like that. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
the class had ended, and I was still there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like so lost in it. And it was like this euphoric feeling that just kind of, I can't still even explain it to this day. I don't know. It just, something kind of just happened. And I was like, whoa, this is something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
That's
It was literally like it was like that decision. I was
Yes.
like, oh, wow, this is actually what I'm going to, this
This
is who
is
I'm going
what
to
you
be.
are.
I've
What was
never
that
felt this
passion
free.
like? What like can you describe? Was it like a fire or passion that came
It
up in
was just
you
more
or
so, it was just like freedom to me.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to create anything you think about, that's
Yeah.
like magic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have a crazy imagination. So being able to take my imagination and make it like push it into the realm where it becomes a real physical thing you can touch, that was mind blowing to me. Like I was like lost. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do
Yes.
for the rest of my life. And I didn't know how to do it. I quit. I actually stopped going. Like I went to Kennedy King for like a blip, and I was like, oh, cool. So now I know this stuff, this little bit of stuff. I will teach
Okay.
myself everything else. And
So
I just
now,
started a
okay, so
clothing
now
line.
you're on this journey. Like you were like, okay, I took this one graphic design class at Kennedy King College. It was great. It helped me open up my mind. Love
Yeah.
art. I love
Uh,
designing. Boom. Now I'm gonna go start. So like, what was your next step? You left school. You didn't have
yeah.
a job, like, cause your mom gave you two options. So you didn't
I
have a full time job. So what was
What I
next?
did was I eventually got one.
Okay.
I eventually got one.
So you had a side hustle. So you had your full
Yeah.
time job and a
Yeah.
side hustle. So
Yeah.
what was your full time and then your side hustle was art. So how did you
Yeah.
juggle? Tell us what the job was and then how you juggled the art.
So I used to mentor youth at Julian High School, and
Okay.
I also taught basic graphics for After School Matters to youth as well. So that's what I was doing prior to doing my art too.
Oh.
And I had like both. It was like, one foot in, one foot out, and I feel like you
Mm-hmm.
have to commit with something because both is going to suffer. So you have to like make a decision. And I eventually made a decision, but um, yeah, it was tough too because like that was a tough decision to make. But I just realized like, man, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna take this leap, because people
Yeah.
become content. They'll be like, "Oh, I'll
Yeah.
do it this and I'll do it here and all." And it's like, nah, G, you got to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I did it. I jumped off the porch, and yeah, that's pretty
That's
much.
awesome.
Yeah, it
Okay, so you
was
were
it was
teaching
real.
kids, and I like to point out too that the programs that you just talked about, After School Matters, and I'm sure Juilliard High School, but definitely After School Matters, that's a renowned art program for high school students across the city. So if there are students, teachers, or just motivators or mentors tuning in, and you have students who like art, After School Matters is a great program to check out. So tell us how you started to develop your businesses, because then so now you're working at After School Matters, and then you also have this side hustle going on for art that you're figuring out and
Mhm.
navigating. So how did it lead into a business?
So but I jumped off the porch. I mean, like I went full entrepreneur. Like I just
Oh,
went full.
okay, so you left
Yeah.
everything and you were like, I'm doing art. Okay.
Yeah. Now I still taught kids, but I did it on like my type of terms, where I
Okay,
wasn't being controlled by anything. You know what I
got
mean?
it.
Because I still have like that's like a real thing to be of service, and I think the youth
Yeah.
get more. So I still do it. I just
Okay.
don't do it as prominent as I used to do it. But I jumped off the porch 2016, and I kind of crashed. I
Yeah.
crashed crazy.
Okay, you crashed. Tell us, what does that
By
mean,
crash, like I mean,
crash?
I tell people all the time because they always see what I do and they always be like, man, this is like woo. And I be like, I want you to understand something about it's not all sunshines and rainbows with what this is. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
meaning what this is, meaning entrepreneurship is
yeah,
not all what
it
it's
is
cracked up to be.
not.
So,
It is
what
not.
are the pros and the cons?
It is
Please tell
not.
us.
It is. It is. It is very very real.
What are the challenges that you face? Tell us about those.
All right. So one, Well, I feel like I felt every emotion imaginable. I'll give you
Mhm.
that. I was homeless before
Mhm.
due to like not having enough money to like sustain.
Yeah.
I've even
That's
been in
real
like,
talk.
no, this is
People
honest. I'm
don't,
being very transparent.
you
I'm
know,
being very
people don't
transparent.
realize that. People think like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm just gonna make all this money somehow and I'm gonna live this amazing life and I don't have to report to anybody.
Nah, it got very real for me. Like weeks I couldn't eat. I didn't have money. Like I was like really struggling
Mhm.
to sustain myself. Like
Yeah.
I'd be in the crib and the lights would cut off because I couldn't like pay my bills and stuff. It was like
That's
it
real.
got really real for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I feel like it's gonna always have those type of things that you get challenged by, but also too, I think that I can look back on those situations now and be extremely appreciative for them because they actually catapulted me to where my skin is so tough.
Yeah.
Like I can take whatever. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
can take whatever and still keep moving forward. But also because of the decision that I made to chase something, I knew it was going to be
Mhm.
those type of things happening. I understood it. The moment I said I'm going to do this, I knew it was going to be things that was going to come my way to challenge me.
Yes.
With what I do with art, there is
Yes.
no going out like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's very time consuming. There's no parties like that. It's
Mhm.
discipline, it's dedication, it's sacrifice. And
Yes.
I knew that, you know, and to be an entrepreneur, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's a 24/7 job. It's
Yeah.
every day. It's
Yep.
not no day off. You think you can become an entrepreneur and then be like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna kick my feet up and just make this money when you don't have like an actual, you know, plan to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I was missing though. That's what
The
I was missing, my
plan.
actual plan. I didn't
Yep.
have a plan. I had
So
somewhere
is
I wanted
that
to go, but I didn't have like the in between, the gray area
yeah,
of
so is that
leadership.
how creating a plan, is that how you rose above from like homelessness? Or tell us how
That
you got from homelessness to getting back on your feet as an entrepreneur.
that like planning and then just having like a strong support system. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mhm.
leaned on people and I never really like to do that. I'm
Yep.
a very like I got this type of person, type of
Hmm.
energy. But sometimes, you know, you gotta lean on people and don't be
Yeah.
afraid to ask people for help, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like really like I was like it was bad. It
But
was
did you
bad.
get it? No,
But
it's okay.
I'm
It's
grateful for it
real.
though.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm
I
grateful for
think
it.
that a point that you're bringing up though is that you often hear if you are trying to help yourself, right? Then
Hmm.
and people see you trying to help yourself, then you are going to people will be willing to help you. Is that
Yeah.
what you recognize? Like people saw you out here grinding and hustling. It's not like you just homeless for no reason. You're
Yeah.
homeless but on a mission. You're focused. You're still making your art. You're
Yeah.
still doing what you need to do even in this hard time, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have
Facts.
pressure, then nothing is built, nothing is developed, right? So no, you're good. So nothing is developed.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I think
No,
like
it
you were creating your
craziness.
diamond, right? So tell us like
Yep.
breaking out the shell, breaking into
Yeah.
your glisten moments. So
Yeah.
how did you establish this plan?
Um, as far as the plan, it was more so how did I establish this? Well, I did a vision board, you know, and then I wrote down, okay, well, what do you really want to say? Because
Yeah.
I feel like no matter what we all do is to be of service to the world. So my thing is like, okay, you have a platform. What do you want to say? What do you want to do with it? And once I kind of align my talent with my purpose, it was easier for me to like make my plan. Okay, I want to heal the world. Okay, how can I do that through creating? You know,
Yep.
okay, cool. So let's show at the top. Let's show at the top museums in Chicago. Let's start there. But then let's also do like a lot of interviews. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah.
also figure out how we can connect to these major cities like New York, like LA. Let's figure
Hmm.
out how to make my work, get it at a more a faster production.
Yep. Efficiencies, building in efficiencies is important. I know you're kind of frozen there for a quick second, but I can fill in the gaps because as Edo is talking about,
It
I
was
got
like,
you. Go ahead.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna wait, you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes we can wait for people to give us. I didn't wait. I went out to leaders because that was like one of the first like brands that I worked for in the city of Chicago. That was like
Okay,
up there.
Leaders, right? Did you say
Yeah,
Leaders? I
yeah,
love people over at Leaders. I remember when they were on 53rd Street in Hyde Park and then
yeah,
downtown in
yeah.
Wicker Park.
Co
Like
man,
they're
he's
just, yeah.
by the way, Corey. he is one of the most important people in Chicago
He
as
is. I
far
love
as
Corey.
and
He's awesome.
he doesn't get enough of what he deserves, man. Like that guy is like sensei to so many of us. He is like my
Oh,
big homie, my
Fashion
mentor.
Geek.
Yeah, he's the reason for a
Jeff.
lot of what's going on,
Exactly. Jeff.
and
All
he's
of
the
them.
reason that I'm here. So
See,
he's the reason
Edo.
why I'm doing this type of stuff. Like he
Mm-hmm.
chose me to design for him at a place where I was like really low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and that changed things for me.
That's
You know?
dope
So
because
I
I've
started going
followed
after.
leaders a long time, and I
Yeah.
know. I mean, like I said, I've known him since back on 53rd in High Park.
Oh
One of
yeah,
his
I remember
his
that.
one of his
Yeah.
first locations. So he's always
Yeah.
he Corey and Leaders is on the cutting edge of Chicago hip hop fashion. Like he is one of those innovators
That's
of
the
what we
legend,
see
man.
of like
You said that.
Don Q with Pumas,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, same with Jeff and his brand partnerships, and like you're talking about. And I want to hear a little bit about what you're doing based off of, you know, the partnership that you and mentorship you got from Corey.
Mm-hmm. Like what I'm doing as far as what you mean.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, like, I think that that's really dope that that's part of your story that you worked with Corey from Leaders. And so, like, how has
Yeah.
he influenced
He
your
like
brand?
working with him, I got attention from like everybody else. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and one thing I was doing was I was designing for like everybody at one
Mm-hmm.
point. Like
Yep.
all the top vibes, I was like the guy behind the scenes designing for them. And then that was around like 2014, 2015. And then 2015 is when I started my new style of art, which now is the infinite art style. So that's
Okay.
how I started. And it's a cool story with how I started it.
What
And it
does that
involves
mean? The infinite art style? Is that the title
oh,
of
like my
it or
style, yeah. Like
your
my
style?
company is
Okay.
called Infinite Inception, but my art is the infinite like style. It's like the collage objects within objects. It's
Yes.
the that's like
I
that,
love
that
it.
style. I came up with that style in 2015. I wasn't painting in 2015 yet. I was doing it all digital.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
There you
So I did my
go.
first showcase in 2015, and mostly everything sold. And I was like, oh, this is gonna work.
Right.
I
Like,
was like,
aha.
this is gonna work out.
That was your
I'm gonna be
aha
okay.
moment.
I was like, I would be
Love
okay
it.
for sure, for sure. I'm like, I'm gonna be okay. And then from there, I just kind of like kept raising it up, elevating, and now, so in 2015, like I said, I started painting in 2017, and now I'm like maybe 10 paintings, 8 to 10 paintings in. But everything
Okay.
is like selling. I'm very grateful for sure.
Well, I definitely want to. I mean, we're going to keep this conversation going a little longer, but before we hop off, we definitely want to see some of your artwork. I know you have a
Oh,
piece
word?
behind
Okay.
you. Yes, I
I
think
got
you
some
have a
stuff in
piece.
the living room. I got like
Oh, okay.
Infinite Grace right there. I got this pen I'm working on right
Love
here.
it.
It's
And I
part of
love all of your
a new
colors.
series. Yeah, that's like my whole thing too. I Chicago can have like at one point it's very gray. Like even outside, I'm looking outside right now and it's just like the color palette, like is the gradient is very gray. So I use
Mm-hmm.
color in my art to kind of offset it, and it's like bringing bright, into like a dark world type of vibe. So and it
Yeah,
attracts people too. I'm
it
telling real
does.
stories with my art. Like every piece has like a specific story I'm telling, but
Mm-hmm.
the colors is what brings you to it. But then when you
Yes.
look at it, you can kind of like get lost in it. It's a whole thing.
Yes. No, I agree. And I think it's also reflective of this is just my novice perspective. It's like it's a reflective of your energy. You said that
Huh.
you want to be able to give to people and make an impact. And
Mm-hmm.
your art does that because the vibrancy
Aw.
of the colors certainly like makes you excited. It draws you in. And then the shapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think about when I look at shapes, it makes me think about different parallels and dimensions and all that good stuff. So, you know, I love it. I know everybody else
It's
does too. It
working.
is. It is your vision, your vision. So,
Yep.
like, let's hop back. You talked a little bit too about your plan and in your mentor. So, I want to come back to two things. First is vision board because we often hear I'm a big person who loves a vision board. I believe it. I think I have two vision boards actually. I have one for 2020, do one every year, and then I have like a 10-year vision board of like where I want to be at in 10 years.
Fire.
So, yes, so tell us about
Very much fire.
why you did a vision board and like what were some of the key components that were important to you on your vision board?
Well, I'm a visual guy, so
Mm-hmm.
I need to visually see it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So that's one of the reasons why I did a vision board, just so I can like see something every day.
Mm-hmm.
I can look at it. And on mine, it was just more so healing, you know,
Yeah.
like really healing the world, like for real, like inspiring the world, infiltrating each household across the world, putting the medicine in the candy, you know, like teaching
Mm-hmm.
kids how to be themselves and be okay with who they are,
Yep.
but teaching them in like a cool way, you know, where
Mm-hmm.
they can actually like take it in, and it's not like I'm being like strict and like just do this. It's more so of a it's a relatable factor to it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
on my vision board, it was selling my art across the world. You know, being of service. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like I'm not really a materialistic guy anymore because I'm more so on the producer side than the consumer side now.
Yep.
But there's obviously certain type of materialistic things that I want. You know what I mean? But that's really that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Being of
cool.
service and helping humanity and helping the world. You know, I'll receive my rewards from being of service to people. So that's the most important thing I'm on right now, is just helping people.
Yeah.
Period. So on my vision board, that's pretty much what it was. It wasn't like a lot going on. It was just selling my art worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
being in every magazine, being the best artist of my generation is like a real thing. It's like a fire in me to just keep pushing myself forward and just keep going hard at it and keep finding new ways to give and keep finding new ways to be creative with my style and
Yeah.
just give it to the world. I'm a vessel. I
Yeah.
understand that. You know, this is flowing through me, but
Yeah.
it doesn't belong to me. You know,
Yeah.
this
What you put
belongs to
out
the
is
world.
what you'll get back. And,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that philosophy and believe that too. And I think, as we're talking about like giving and receiving back, one of the things you touched on was about mentors. And so I know
Yep.
that that was a part of, your coming of kind of like of age or coming to your artist standpoint. But how did you find your mentors? I think
How
that
did I
that's
find my mentors?
yeah, because I think because
Ooh,
that's
okay.
very important for people
Yeah,
to.
so one crate um but something had happened. And this was like it was like a long time ago, like years ago. And I found myself like just breaking down crying about
Mm-hmm.
something. I forget what it was, but it affected me very deeply. I think some business thing that I had did with somebody and they like wronged me in it or something. They're like you know, they messed me over
Yeah,
type of vibe. And it was so crazy because you just at that point you just wouldn't think that a person that would do that business wise, they wouldn't, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But it hurt me deeply. And
Mm-hmm.
I found myself watching this video on YouTube. I don't know how I found it, but it just kind of just popped up, and it was of Eric Thomas. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. That
I
video,
love every time
and
he's so good.
it just changed me. You know, so my mentors, I don't really have too many people like mentors that I actually know. You know what I mean? I have
Yeah,
mentors that I can go on YouTube and watch all the time, like Eric Thomas,
interesting.
Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor. Like these are like people that like really like,
The Secret. I love Bob
yeah,
Proctor.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You know, so my mentors is all on YouTube.
Hey, but you
But it's
know what? I like. You know what? That's something that people don't talk about. Is like I think the perspective is that you always have to have a mentor who you can physically touch, see, or feel, or pick up the phone and talk to.
hmm
But you're outlining people who are motivational speakers, who are influencers, who feed in and who have a great
yeah,
platform and words and
yeah,
messaging. They could be your mentors. And I think in this
yeah.
day and age, we can look at digital mentors. I love that.
Yeah, I think it got to come from somewhere. I didn't have it. I didn't have
Yeah.
no. I had no person come to me and be like, "Listen, I'm gonna help you out." Not one person ever. You know, I
Right.
went out and even with what I'm doing now, like nobody is showing me anything.
Mm-hmm. Because you
Still,
said you're
this is
self-taught.
right. This is all me just believing in something so
Yeah.
hard that it doesn't matter. I'm gonna figure it out. You know, so I need help. I need guidance. I'm gonna go to YouTube and see if there's some guidance there that somebody can help me like, you know,
Did
get
you
to where
ever
I'm trying to be.
use Yeah, did you ever use YouTube to do video, like watch videos to develop your artistic talents, or you've never sought any sort of training in life for your artistic talents?
I promise you,
That's
I
that's dope.
literally, I had one canvas here. The when I in 2017, I had one canvas in my house,
Yes.
and I just had it here. It was a 48 by 60. It's pretty nice size, and I literally just started painting. I didn't even draw nothing on the canvas yet. I just started painting. I just started.
I love that.
I literally just started, and it was just like, that's why I be
Yeah.
telling people. People tell me all the time, like, it's hard. I'm like, is it hard to really do that? I don't think so. I think you're making it hard, but I think you can
No.
do whatever you want to do in this world. You know, it's not like
Exactly. I
that
mean, like,
difficult.
it's your God-given talent. Last week, we had on Tyler, the creator, inspired by Tyler on
Oh, gang.
yes, love her. But
I love her.
ironically though, right? Like, she's a self-taught artist too.
Fire, and she's super
She's
fire, man. She's
super
so dope.
dope.
She's so dope. She's
She's
so dope.
super dope. And just like, I think all things Courtney says, self-belief and motivation is key. And that's true. You know, like, you believed in yourself.
Yeah.
You are developing your own talents, and it's super dope, right? That's awesome.
I
I think
love it.
the next thing I want to talk about though is like, so you've been taking your dopeness on the road. You've been hitting, you know, some art exhibits. You've been doing your own art exhibits. Can you talk a little bit about that? You've done it like MCA in New York. Like,
Yeah.
what's up with
So
that?
a year after I did my first painting, I showed at Art Basel, which is like one of the biggest art.
I love Art Basel. I go
Yeah.
every year. Yes.
Bet. So I showed in 2018 through Pigment International, and then
Yes.
I showed again last year at Basel. But last year I did MCA. I showed at the Google headquarters. I showed at Twitter headquarters. I showed at LinkedIn. I've shown at Dusable Museum. I've shown man, it's just a lot.
That's
Last year was
awesome.
really cool, man. And then this year I kicked off this year with my first ever solo exhibition at the Logan Art Center, and that was like
Love it.
no, it was super super dope. And I had more things planned. Like there was more.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that's under wraps and things that had to be postponed, like different brands and stuff like that hitting me up.
Totally exclusivity. We know you're
Yeah,
lost. You're out
but and
here
it's still gonna
doing it.
happen. It's just because of what's going on right now.
Oh, of course.
It's been like put on hold. A lot of what I was like supposed to be like dropping now and doing
Yes.
now, throwing now, is can't go right now. But
It's okay.
when we back to regular scheduled programming,
Yes.
I'm right
This is
back
just
on.
your time. This is everybody's time to perfect whatever it is that they had
I
in the works.
agree. I agree.
So guess what? It's still gonna happen. It's still coming and moving
Yes,
forward, but it's just
indeed.
you have even greater work to produce that you didn't even know. And this is
Yes,
the
I
time
know.
to do
This
it
is the
now.
best time for any type of art, any type of career, anybody. This is the
Yes.
best time to really sit down and think.
Yes.
What's up? What you gonna
Yes.
do?
Look,
What's
my philosophy is like, we are in this, we have this time, like, we never in life will likely have just quiet time that is forced upon us ever again in life. And we might as well take advantage of it now, so that way we could be better when we come out than what we were when we went in. You know,
my
that's what we
philosophy.
got to do.
And what's crazy though, honestly, what's crazy? Nothing for me has really changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally, because my art studio was like right there,
Yep.
so I never really was outside like that prior.
Yeah.
I was always creating in general. So like nothing's really changed for me per se.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like projects that's been put on hold, but for the most part, I've actually been able to speed up what I'm about to do. So it's really cool, man. I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. Well, I guess like rounding out, what are just some, you know, you've given some great advice and nuggets along the way. And for any teens who are chiming in or tuning in, what advice do you have for them as they're looking to become an artist, maybe an entrepreneur? What advice do you have?
Wow. Because okay, let me see.
And it can come from a self-taught perspective. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
trying to think like because you know, like, well, for me, it was just about perseverance, you know, and knowing that it's not going to be as easy as you think it is. So
mm-hmm.
not allowing those moments that when you're low, You know, not allowing those moments to really handicap you, because you're going to have.
Keep going. I think you just froze, but I agree. It's perseverance. It can't
Please,
handicap you.
yeah, yeah. If you really believe in something, please go
Mm-hmm.
after it and protect your light with your life. Like, protect your dream with everything you have.
Mm-hmm.
But go, you know,
Yeah.
take that leap, take that risk, because I guarantee you will not regret it. You will not
You
regret
will
that.
not.
Also, too, plan. Like, this is the
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, really, vision board. What do you see? You know,
Mm-hmm.
visual. You know, write down. I have a 1 to 3 year plan. I have 1 to 3 year plan. I have a 4 to 7, and then I have an 8 to 10.
Yes.
So, kids,
Hello.
plan. This is the best time. While y'all at home and playing the video game, nah, put the video game down
Yep.
and write down your goals. What do you want to accomplish? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Like, really look at your goals. And the more you look at them, the more you read them, you will start to walk that way. You know, you'll
Yep.
start to talk that way. We are what we think. We are what we
Exactly.
say. It's very, very real. So I would say, yeah, those are like a couple little gems I can give from my perspective.
Awesome. This was amazing. I love this.
No, this was dope. This is my first time doing this, man. This is really cool.
Oh, yay. Well, hey, I loved hearing your story. I hate that it's only 30 minutes. I'm like, man, I could ask you 1,000 more questions. But I think my key takeaways on this is that, one, your mindset is everything, because along your journey from your childhood to adulthood, you've kept a vision of what you wanted to achieve. You didn't let anything stop you, no matter how you grew up,
Nothing.
no matter the trials and tribulations you faced. You stayed focused and steadfast, and you grinded. You put your feet to the sand, and you grinded it out, and here you are today. So on that end, do you want to just give your good shameless plug about how people can stay in touch with you,
Yeah, sure.
Instagram, website, all that good stuff?
My website, I'm finishing it up now. I had to like finish my art catalog first, but my
Awesome.
website is I'm finishing it up now, and my Instagram is Lego My Edo. I've always been addicted to Legos and just creating, so I thought that was a cool name.
Love it. And can people buy
um,
your art too? Can people buy your art if they ever want
of
any part?
course, my
Okay.
art is everything's for sale. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna. But I was gonna throw something out there, but I'll hold it until
Okay.
it's official. But
That's cool.
yeah. So Lego My Edo is my Instagram. My Facebook, Eddie Santana White. That's my actual government name. So you guys can find me there. And yeah, but all art though. Like, yes,
Yes, all art. Y'all can DM
everything is for
him if
sale.
y'all want to get any of his
Yes,
art on Instagram at Lego My Edo, Edo.
yes.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Edo, for your time today. Thank you for everyone who joined us, and we will see y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace. Bye.